Hello and welcome to today's Uplifting Conversation. And with me, I have the lovely Mel CRAVEN, who I have been friends with for a few years. And I have had the pleasure of doing a laughter yoga workshop with Mel and a couple of other workshops. And I know her expertise, I know her heart, and I know that she has some amazing offerings for people out in the world. So welcome, Mel. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Kate. Thank you. It's nice to see you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
I know. It's a bit exciting, isn't it? So, yes, in September, Mel and I are going to get together up in Darwin and we're going to play, and we've put on our agenda that we're going to go and visit the Blue Cypress Farm in Darwin, which is, that added another layer of excitement to our trip when we were thinking of the things that we could get up to. So,
Definitely.
yes. Yeah, fantastic. Now, Mel, I'm really keen to hear your story because I know a little bit about you, but I don't know about your story of stepping into your courage and bringing your gifts, your talents, your heart, and your expertise out in the world. So, I'd love to hear the journey of like your spiritual awakening and what kind of offerings you have for people. And also, I'd love to hear more about what you are doing up there in the Northern Territory, because that is another layer of wonderment. So, yeah, so Mel CRAVEN, tell us all about your story.
Okay, where to start? That's a lot.
It is a
I'll
lot.
start with I'll start with where I am, just to
Yeah.
ground everything. So
Yeah,
I'm at
please.
the top end. They call it the top end of Australia. It's Yolngu country, so this is the East Arnhem Land, near Darwin, but it's like 1,000 k's to get to Darwin from here, along a very rugged dirt track that is undrivable for most of the year. So I'm excited because since I drove up in February, it's been graded. We broke down driving in. It was pretty bad, but now it's safe to travel. So I can go on a little trip. Yeah. But it's a beautiful coastal Northern Territory town surrounded by mangroves and crocodiles. And the amazing thing about living here is getting in touch with the Yolngu spirituality. So the Indigenous people of the land here that have been here for thousands of years, they still have areas here where they live and can teach us about bush medicine and all the herbs and flowers and roots and things that they use for their health, as well as their wisdom, just their connection to the land and their whole belief system. So it's a beautiful place to be.
Sounds absolutely delightful. And I think, how valuable is that to learn from people who have lived this kind of a natural lifestyle in many ways, and the stories, the wisdom would be passed down through the generations, I'm assuming.
Yes. So, there's always a threat of the dominant culture and the introduction of modern medicine kind of squashing that wisdom. So
Yes.
it's really exciting when I see it being taught, and some of the elders, the women I work with, freely share that information.
Yes.
There's lots of publications that are coming out now to kind of keep it, because it used to be quite oral, still is an oral transmission.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
from the traditional healers to other identified healers in the community, and then it's passed on. So it was at risk of being lost, but people are starting to document it.
Yes.
I was just talking about essential oils. I was just finding out about the bark from one of the trees, the Melaleuca tree. They actually would use that and apply it to wounds, and it has tea tree oil inside. And so that would help to heal the wound.
Yes.
So, all these ancient ways of peeling bark off tree, putting them on wounds, so interesting. Ties into essential oils, actually, and
Absolutely.
the plant wisdom.
Yes, fantastic. Yes, our Melaleuca comes from New Zealand. So I know Young Living do their best to source oils from, well, they do more than their best. They only source oils from organic suppliers and people who are using our seed to seal promise. So it's not an easy task to access oils that are of the quality that you and I both know that we have with Young Living. So I see a
Yeah.
few people popping in to watch us. Please say hello if you've got any questions. We love having interaction with our guests. So if you feel like you've got any questions or comments, what I do is read them out so everybody can hear, because we're
Right.
possible, because we are streaming. I'm streaming to YouTube and to a couple of different places on Facebook. So I can see Joseph.
Exciting.
So that's lovely. You might be able to see the comments. I'm not quite sure what your setup is. Some people seem to find them,
I
and
just
some people
through to my phone.
find it a struggle. So we are juggling a few places here at once. So now, Northern Territory, a small community. What took you up there, Mel? How did you end up there? You've had a bit of an adventure from
Yeah.
overseas down to Tassie, and now you're in Northern Territory. So
Mhm.
what is your role up
Yeah.
there, or tell us about that part of your
Yeah.
journey?
Yeah. This kind of links into courage,
Yes.
my personal journey.
Mm,
So I've always wanted to work up here, but I never in my wildest dreams thought I would. That actually took a whole lot of being totally uprooted from where we were. I have a partner and 3 boys, and I was living in the Middle East during 2020. We all know what happened then.
yes.
And that led me to return to Australia after 12 years abroad, and I'm a trained social worker, so I actually look forward to stepping back into that role in mental health and social work, and my partner's a paramedic. But then during the actual mandates, we were displaced again in Australia, like in other parts of the world. We were required to comply with mandates and certain injections, and we chose not to. So that led us on a whole nother foray into courage. We lost our ability to be able to afford to rent because we both lost our jobs, and we lost our livelihood basically. So, these crises often plunge you into opportunity, and when they lifted the mandates in the Northern Territory for social workers, I was able to get a job up here in a place I never would have probably ventured to, because I was quite snug and safe in Tassie. We were quite settled there. So up we came, and I'm now working in mental health here.
And I could well imagine that actually it's very interesting, not just where you are, but everywhere I'm out and about and listen to people who are in the area of mental health. It is extreme. And even people, this week there was just somebody else who talked about students in classrooms and mental health, and how it was not an issue in the past to the degree that it is coming out of the woodwork now. So it is such
it's bad. It's a real big problem.
Yeah.
And it's been exacerbated over the last 3 years due to the isolation, the fear a lot of people were in, and just the whole breakdown in normal social structures. So not being able to see grandparents, for fear of maybe killing them, not being able to go to funerals or be with people when they were dying, giving birth alone with no support. That's a big one, because I work a lot with mothers retelling their birth stories and the trauma from not having someone with you, when we know that one of the biggest indicators of a positive birth experience is the level of support. So a lot of these women couldn't even have their birth partners until the very last pushing stage. So they laboured for hours in isolation, perhaps with just a nurse popping in and out, not even giving much physical touch. So there's a lot of anxiety, I'd say a lot of trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder coming out of all of these situations. And people who were once, quite at work, seeing people suddenly working from home, developed anxiety about being with people again. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Oh gosh.
young
So
people also.
yeah, so you're playing a very important role. I know during those lockdown times, my heart was with any woman. I mean, it was with everyone, but women birthing under those situations and circumstances.
Mm,
I just, so sad and tragic. To take away from that beautiful experience, or to put
yeah.
them, women in those situations was just, for me, it was just horrific to think that, there were many, many babies born during those times. And
Yeah.
yeah, certainly all of us have times where we need someone, a friend or a counselor, uh, like you. And I know for myself, even with my own children, I find myself these days saying, well, maybe you need to book into someone professional, or somebody who has, the skills. You would see similar stories, similar people having similar situations, and having the experience and the expertise in helping those people maneuver their way through that and out of that and beyond that is such a valuable thing
Mm,
that you can
yeah.
bring to work with others.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy it,
Yeah,
and a lot of the work is about helping people just holding up a mirror so they can see, get that space and reflect on what's been happening, and then working on
yeah.
just accepting and surrendering to the current situation and starting from there. Because a lot of people are caught up in that overthinking, worrying about the future, stressing about the past. So a lot of my way of working with people is through mindfulness and acceptance, and then finding the strength within and what connects them to that meaning, purpose, joy. So that's how I got through some
Mhm.
very difficult years. Just a big one of my favorite methods is, of course, connecting to the heart through the heart brain coherence as well. So going within, connecting to the heart. Yeah, so I love working in this area and just helping people navigate their way back to their true selves,
Mhm.
and to just slow it all down, because life doesn't have to be so fast
Right?
and furious.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's even me, I find that it's something I've been contemplating myself the last few days. Just slow down and enjoy the moment, because I love getting things
Yeah.
done. I love achieving things, and there's so many things. I get up in the morning and I think, oh, there's 1,000 things I think I want to do, and you're not going to achieve them all, but you know, uh, I'd like to kind of achieve as many as I can, and I really need to
Mm-hmm.
say, just slow down a little bit and enjoy, and take it all in rather than glossing over things
Mm.
and rushing. Yeah.
Yeah, and know that there'll be times in your life where you get a burst of energy and creativity, and that's great. And then
Yes.
there'll be times when it starts to feel out of alignment, and
Yes.
you start to get a little bit irritable, and
Yep.
just listening to those signs. Okay, now I just need to slow down. But there's nothing wrong with being, excited and full of
Yes.
ideas. It's about recognizing when that's causing stress and just bringing it back to the
Absolutely.
present moment.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the things that, we always say that you have like 2 weeks of the month, your energy's building up, and then there's 2 weeks that your energy's going down. So we've got to go with, we often look at
Mm.
the biorhythms, and I don't know if you've heard of those.
Yes.
And you put in your
Yeah.
birth date and your time of birth, and look at your biorhythms, and then you kind of go, oh, actually, I'm having a triple critical at the moment. Like, in other words, my
Mm.
emotions are down, my mental state is down, my physical state is down. So, okay, let's just go with that, and take that time for nurture.
Oh, I'll have to look more into that, biorhythms.
Yes,
Yeah. I mean,
can,
we're part of nature, so we're in rhythm, just like nature is, where we
yes.
have seasons. So that sounds like a beautiful way to look at it and explore it
Mm.
further. Mm. Where can you find information on that?
Just Google biorhythms, and
Mm.
you'll find there are lots of free, well, there used to be lots of free options. So I just look it up at any time I think like I'd like to see what's going on with me. I'll just Google biorhythms and
Mhm.
go with that. So, and it's like anything. Once we understand things, we feel a little less threatened, or we feel more open to accepting, hey, this is what it's all about.
Mhm.
And I know
Yeah.
for me, I mean, I learned about biorhythms well before I started using essential oils. Now I think I lean more to, well, let's just grab an oil, take a breath, grab an oil, and you
Mm,
start to embody some of these habits as time goes on. So Mel,
definitely.
tell us a bit about your work in the Middle East, or tell us a little bit about your journey, about how you came to and I know there's quite a string of things to your bow, like laughter yoga, mindfulness, counseling, light language. Anyway, tell us a little about either aspect of that journey in whatever order you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So I call my time, like 12 years in the Middle East, kind of like a spiritual awakening time. So I, until that time, had grown up. Father was a minister. I actually grew up on an Aboriginal Church of Christ mission. So
Oh.
very structured, very traditional Christian upbringing. I even went to Bible college and studied a theology degree, and then went on to do sociology of religion. Yeah, so as a young child, I was always questioning and always wanting to know, well, why do only Christians have the right answers? You know, I
You
used to
sound like
really, yeah, my father would be preaching, and I'd be thinking, but why are only we going to heaven? Like, it didn't make sense to me. And so I had a real thirst to study other religions, other cultures. So then in the Middle East, when I was surrounded by the beautiful Arabic culture and Islamic wisdom, that really started to open my my eyes
me.
to all the different religions. And also we had people there from, India. I trained as a yoga teacher. So again, that was another awakening and
Ah.
exploring Buddhism and all the wonderful ways that you can access spirituality, not just through Christianity. And then I also looked into Tai Chi and Qigong and became a doula as well. So the doula course that I did, which is where you train to be an assistant to the birthing mother. It was an Islamic birthing course, so that was really interesting. Just
Oh.
studying doula from that point of view with a wonderful woman, Aisha, who lived in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, so that was amazing, and I learned how to bring in many different avenues for connecting to the divine, to source. And now I think that, the biggest religion that I preach about is love, connecting to your heart. And however you choose to access that portal will be different. Everyone has their different way of connecting depending on their background, their culture, country, place, yeah,
Mm.
and what happens in their life. Yeah. So so that's progressed into I trained as a Reiki master as well,
Mhm.
and started to go into more energy healing and sound healing with amazing Tibetan singing bowls. So now in my mental health approach to working with people, I like to bring in the mindfulness, the movement, and the vibration of sound and energy, as well as psychotherapy. Yeah. And I also use my voice because I
Mhm.
trained in soul voice, and that really connects to light language. So I just spontaneously started speaking light language, which you could say is the voice of the soul, and found it brought me such great joy and bliss. And I've now started bringing that into my Reiki and sound
Mm.
healing
Mm.
sessions. Mm.
Oh, sounds divine. So I mean, it's a bit like me when I do Reiki. I always bring my oils in, or you might have some nice music or sound,
Oh,
or
yeah.
and
Don't forget
crystals
the oils. I
and
bring
the
a lot
oils.
of
Yeah,
oils into everything. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. I don't. All my work, or energy healing. I use the oils, obviously. I was a bit like you, started with, different other modalities, experiences and learnings. And, but when I found the oils, that they became, that sort of, uh, they just work so well with everything else.
They
That's
do. They permeate every part of my practice. So I use them, first of all, for my own anxiety as a new mother.
mm-hmm.
I used to use a lot of Capeba or Capabia, however you say
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Still struggle with that one. I used to put a lot of that on my thumb, press it to the roof of
Yes.
my mouth whenever I felt anxious. You're going to say
Yes.
how you
Yes.
say it?
Yeah. Well, I say Capaiba, but different people pronounce it differently. It's spelled Copaiba, but it's not.
Yeah.
Yes. So
It's from a tree, but the interesting thing about that is that it has not the THC that you find in cannabis, but the CBT. So it has that beautiful sedative effect.
Yes,
So
exactly.
yeah, I used to recommend that to all new mothers and anyone struggling with children that were hyperactive. Like, it's been known to help with ADHD and things like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's interesting. I
Yeah.
haven't looked at it, although
Yeah.
it is a very calming oil, so that would be why you would use it to support that, relaxation
Yeah,
and
that's
curbing of
right.
the energy. So, and a lot of
And it
young
makes
mums.
a nice tea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of the young mums like to put a bit of carrier oil with it and use it when the
Teething.
children are teething.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yes, so it's a great oil to have. So,
Yeah.
and so, it must have been quite interesting. I didn't realize you did your doula training when you were overseas. That's an amazing a situation to have, and I'm sure that they would bring some different angles or different ideas into how that all went.
Yeah, so it was like, of course, the basic anatomy and physiology is the same, but a lot
Yes.
of the teachings were connected to the Islamic verses from their Bible. And so bringing those teachings in, like one of my favorite ones was, you need to tie your camel. You don't just leave it loose to wander around. So you need to prepare for the birth. And then, the story about Mary being very active in her birth and holding on to like the date palm tree and not being flat on her back, but holding onto that tree and being in nature and moving around. Yeah, lots of different ideas that came in. And apart from, bringing the Islamic verses in, there was also the whole culture where it's more of a women's business, which is similar to the Yolngu Aboriginals here. That information and knowledge is passed on through women, and it's all about the tribe and the mothers and aunties supporting each other. Whereas, the whole postpartum in the Islamic tradition is you go and stay with the mother or the grandmothers, care for the new mothers and bring them food and, not like here in the West where you have a baby and, come back in 6 weeks for your checkup and good luck. Yeah.
And I think, yes, and the thing is, I know for me, I was lucky, fortunate to be at the births and actually delivered some of my grandchildren at their births, which was amazing. But I was working. So, a couple of my grandchildren were born in Melbourne. So I would go over for the birth and just spend a couple of days. Actually, I had two grandchildren, one born in Victoria on a Thursday night. And then a week later, my other daughter in Tasmania, her next baby was due. So I said to look, I've got to go. And I just, on a week later, well, we kind of knew the due dates, but I just went, right, I've got to go back. I've got to go back to Tassie because the next one's on the way. And I came
Mm.
back here. I think I arrived in the morning actually, and on the Friday morning, and Jindy said, "Oh, later that day, Mum, I'm having some contractions." So sure enough, that night we were off into hospital for the second granddaughter. But it was a challenge
How
because
great.
it was
Mm.
wonderful. It was absolutely
Mm.
fabulous. Yeah. So and the birthing suite here in Burnie in Tasmania,
Mm.
they're wonderful. With my eldest granddaughter, who's now she's 18, the midwives said to the father, "Would you like to, you know, um, deliver the baby?" And he was from Bangladesh, so he just said, "Oh, no, no," he had no passion for that. And I'm there going, "Oh, pick me, pick me." And and they
Me.
and I didn't say anything, no, because I just thought,
Mm.
"No, that's" but they just said, "Would you like to?" And I went, "Oh my gosh,
Um,
I'd love to if that's all
so
right
you
with
could catch
me."
catch the baby.
I caught the
Mm.
baby, and I can still feel Charlotte's little head in my
Mm.
hands if I just tune in,
Oh.
and the warmth of it and the preciousness of it. I had
Mm.
4 children at home, so to be present with my grandchildren was such an honour, and to
Mm.
be I think I've delivered 2.5 of them of the 7, but I've been
Two and
attending
a
the
half.
birth of all of them. Well, the story of Sky was that the midwife said to the father, "Would you like to deliver this baby?" And he said, "No, no." And I said, "Yeah, get down there. You'll never have this opportunity again." So he went down and delivered the head. So the midwives just, they coached you under, they had their
Yeah.
hands there ready to if
Mm.
you needed it. But anyway, he had the head, and then it takes a couple more contractions for the rest of the body to come through, typically, not
Mm.
always. And so he eventually said, "No, look, I want to get back up there with Jindy. You get down there." So I went down and delivered his little bottom. So it was just so
Oh.
beautiful. Or her
That's where
bottom.
the half comes in. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
she
got the
was.
bottom half.
Yeah, she was the half. So yeah, I've actually delivered
Mm.
2.5 of them.
Oh, that's gorgeous. You know, during COVID, when we couldn't work, my partner and I helped a lot of people who wanted to birth at home who couldn't access the
Okay.
hospital. Yeah, so we
Yes.
designed a course, the online, um, which is childbirth outside the hospital setting,
Mm,
and just some beautiful stories of fathers being there and catching after coaching and caring for the
yes.
woman giving birth and being at
Yes.
that precious time and feeling so empowered
Oh,
to be to be part of it and to do it by themselves. So yeah,
yes. Yeah,
it's
amazing stories. And
mm,
my grandmother delivered at home. So, and
mm,
she had quite a few children, and it was the done thing in those days. It wasn't unusual. So,
mm,
uh, even the idea that we all have to go to hospital thinking there's something wrong. I mean, I think
mm.
hospital has its place, definitely. But
Yeah, if there's complications,
yeah,
it's good to have that level of care available, but most of the time it's not needed.
yes, exactly.
Mm,
And
mm,
also, it was just a beautiful thing. I've actually been to supported quite a few births in hospital, uh, but many of them call themselves birthing units, but they still just say to the mother, if the mother's experiencing a bit of discomfort, "Oh, well, so I go and get some painkillers." I know I was at one friend's birth. "Well, I go and grab some painkillers." And she was in that. She would have been in transition, and she was in that
mm.
stage where really vulnerable for that. And I'm
Yeah,
saying, "No, come on, let's breathe. Let's." And I
yeah.
walked, talked and walked her
Mm.
through that birth, and she didn't have any painkillers, and it was it was just such a blessing to think you don't have to go down that track if you want to
No.
keep focused and stay relaxed. One of my births, my first birth, I had my husband and a doctor came along, but I realized afterwards that I would have been much better off if I had had a female there who had birthed, or a midwife, or someone with some, confidence and expertise to support me through that, because
Mm.
no one, I kind of go, no one really, coached me on those levels. They were there. Yes, I was getting back massages and things, but there are
Yeah.
things you need to say to people,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
just relax and think about this baby, and, make way, and
Yeah.
all things. Or when they go into, just go, come on, let's get the breath happening. And these days I would be grabbing
Mhm.
some oils as well,
Exactly. Yeah.
to
And you can
support.
use oils, heat,
Mm,
Reiki. I bring all of that
mm.
into the doula work. I'm not doing
Yes,
a lot of births now, but I was back
yes,
in the Middle East. And
yes,
yeah, I remember using lavender oil and
yes,
Reiki,
yes,
and that they called it like just a natural epidural
yeah,
on the woman's sacrum. Yeah, that
yes,
was as effective for that
yes,
woman.
yes,
Um, it took away her sensation of pain when
yes,
I had my hands there, lavender
yes,
oil, and also heat packs. Yeah.
yes. I had heat packs. We had buckets of water. You know how the old thing is, you got to go and boil the water or have hot water. Well, we had hot water
Yeah.
and towels, and was wrapping them around me. And I don't know what I would have done without those. These days they have great heat packs as well that you can use.
Yeah.
Um, with my youngest daughter, I actually I think I was tuned to Reiki while I was pregnant with Carly. But the midwife, I realised later, was a Reiki master, or had Reiki, and she put a hand on my lower back where there. She
Mm.
said, "Where's the pain?" And I said, "There." Well, she put her hands on it, and the pain completely disappeared. It was just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
Just went, and she was born
Yeah.
in an hour and 3/4, or an hour and a quarter. So
Wow, that would have been
extremely
intense then.
quick. But
Yeah.
I can't remember. It was a great birth. My waters broken. I think that
Mm.
helps when your waters are broken. It happened with two of my very speedy births,
Mm.
which,
We'll have to call. Yeah, we'll have to call this talk childbirth.
yeah,
Childbirth tips.
childbirth.
But it's just beautiful to hear your stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that seems all so long ago. But with one of
Mm.
my daughters, she was having a long labour, and not a lot was happening. And the midwife came in and said, how about we put the diffuser on, we close the curtains, and we just bring the energy of the room down. So I was excited, because I always like to not be too, pushy about all these things.
Yeah.
But I grabbed my Young Living lavender and put it in the diffuser. We closed the curtains. I hopped
Yeah.
in the chair and had a nap, and my daughter the whole energy of the
Mm.
room completely changed, and we went
Yeah.
all really calm and quiet, and because she was exhausted,
Yeah.
and it just gave her the energy she needed for that next stage of
Mhm.
labor. So it was just something as simple as a few drops of lavender oil in a diffuser can shift
So
the energy.
simple.
Exactly.
So
It's not.
simple, but so
Mm.
powerful, isn't it?
And
Really is.
some hospitals will promote these things these days. Some people are awake and aware.
Mm.
Even as far as passing goes, my father, when he was passing, there was a moment where there was no one else in the room, and I got the oils out and put some frankincense on him, and just did a little bit of realigning the energy. And a few minutes later, the I was going to say the midwives, but the nurses came in and they said, "Oh, what's that smell?" And I said, "Oh, I got out my oils. I hope that's okay." And they said, "Oh, it's just beautiful." So it
Mm.
just helped change the energy of things, and it just brings in a whole new dimension to something that, they're sacred times, birthing and passing on. And
And
yeah,
these ancient sacred ways of being with our loved ones is,
yeah,
the massaging, the oil, that's all known. It's, it's not new. It's just, we're bringing it back.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
And what a shame to think that we've lost a lot of it, but how exciting to think it's being reawakened. And I think people are more and more looking for new ways of dealing with situations that might be a little
Mm.
bit more natural and holistic and even effective. So,
Exactly. Yeah,
yes.
yeah. And I didn't mention, but I teach yoga as well, not just the laughter
Oh,
yoga, but yin
yes,
yoga and restorative
yes.
yoga. And I always begin by handing out a little cotton pad with some frankincense, or depending on the theme of the class, a different oil for people to inhale. And often people carry that pad with them, and it just brings back throughout the week, if they inhale it, that feeling of
Mm,
calm and release they had during yoga. So it's just a little powerful
yes,
reminder.
yes.
Yeah. So,
I've experienced aroma yoga with Ed Daly from Young Living. He's one of our educators, and at some of our events, he brings the oils in, and it's just
mm,
lovely to hear people, walk us
mm,
through whatever they're doing with their yoga and bringing the essence of the oils in. Uh, just gives it a richer and more fulfilling
we did
experience.
we did one of those aroma yoga classes together.
Yes, yes, we did too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
God, it seems like a
Mm,
long time ago, but it's not so long ago. So it's so great
yeah.
to be able to connect with you again. We've really enjoyed having you in Tassie, and hopefully one day you might head back to Tasmania. You never
Yes,
know.
yes, I think we will. I have a
Mm.
special place in my heart for Tassie, and
Ah, wonderful.
I really enjoyed my time there when I returned from the Middle East,
Mm,
connecting with all the different spiritual groups,
mm.
especially, in the Northwest, an
Yes,
amazing community there. Mm.
yes, yes. We've got an expo on tomorrow, actually, at La Trobe. So you would
Mhm.
probably be normally coming along to that. If you were here, you would be there.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I would.
So Mel, do you do anything online these days if people are interested in connecting with what are you doing, or you mostly, or are you going to be opening those up in the future, or tell us a little bit about where you're at?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So at the moment, I'm working mostly full time up here with an
Mm.
organization, but I still have some, capacity, especially because I have a lot of clients in the past overseas, expats that find it hard to access services.
Yes.
I always provide some time for them if they're needing to access some counselling or life coaching. And I do hold meditation classes here that people can contact me if they're local. And then online, I have lots of resources and courses. So there is one about preparing for childbirth. There's also through Blossom and Berry, I teach the baby massage online, and I also have
Oh,
courses for the first 40 days. So if you want to support women and
mhm.
families in the first 40 days after birth. It's a really beautiful course to do. It gives you all the wisdom from other cultures and some practical hands-on ideas, recipes and massages. And yeah, that's a lovely course. So those courses are available online, as well as my yoga classes. So people can access a whole library of yin yoga. And
Right.
hopefully I'll start doing them live again, but I'm quite busy at the moment working
Yes.
full time. Mm.
Yes, yes. But what an amazing thing that you can use all these skills. Can you bring most of what all these things to the table with your situation at the moment? Are they open to your offerings?
They've been wonderful. They really have. So I have a meditation and yoga room available
Mhm.
for me to use. So if
Yes.
someone's wanting to access healing and mental health support, I can also offer them meditation sessions or some yoga therapy or a private singing bowl session.
Oh,
So just the first, I guess, mainstream place I've
yes,
worked where they've been
yes.
very open to bringing in different avenues for mindfulness and relaxation. And sometimes, the research shows that you can do lots of psychotherapy and talking, but it's sometimes a faster way to release emotion can be through the energy vibration of sound
Yes.
or your own meditation going
Yes.
within, and stilling the mind. It can be so powerful. So I'm really loving that I can bring that into my practice. Yeah, and then friends and family, I'm always available to do Reiki
Mm-hmm.
for them here. Yeah, so it's
So do you
great. It's
find,
all coming together.
yeah, and for the Aboriginal people that you're working with, are they still connected to those sides of their culture? I know some, in Tasmania many years ago, we had a gathering with Aboriginal women who came and different people here in Tassie, and it was an awakening for me because I realised how far removed they were from, their tribal ways, or their rituals, or even their understanding of the bush. It was a lot of it became apparent to me that it was not something they were actually brought up. It wasn't
No,
integrated to their life.
it has been due to the dominant culture and colonization and the removal of so many
Mm,
Indigenous children from their families and communities. A lot of it, especially down south and in communities there, has been lost, which is it's really something we need to encourage that people that are still holding the wisdom and still
mm,
living to bring it back. Up here in East Arnhem Land is probably one of the fewer places in Australia where that culture is still really strong and really thriving. So, like, even tonight there is a concert. Not a concert. Is it a concert? Like rock bands playing at the Oval. But
yeah.
before every festival, there's a boom, which is a traditional dancing.
Ah.
And the little kids get up, they know it. You see little 2-year-olds doing traditional dances and singing the song lines. All of that is still alive and well here. Whenever there's a passing of a community member, there's still all of the beautiful ritual. There's the singing and clapsticks and chanting that goes on when the body is received or taken from a hospital back to community. There's lots of ceremony, beautiful ceremonies around
Mm,
death. They do death so well. And
wow.
even in my work, when I go out I work with a few groups of women. So
Mm-hmm.
I was employed to teach them yoga, but it's kind of ended up with me sharing my yoga and then them teaching me the traditional dancing. And it's all
Oh,
about their connection to nature. So we'll be
yes.
dancing like the
Mm,
crocodile, or we'll be dancing, like we're spearing a fish, and it's all telling stories. A lot of their names here are still the traditional cultural Yolngu names, and they've got beautiful meanings, like the first sun in the morning, or
mm,
the sound of the wind. Like their names are
mm,
all connected. So
mm,
I think that Australia needs to pay more attention to the wisdom in this part of
mm,
Australia, and we really need to do a bit better at empowering the
mm,
younger generation here to hold on to that, to not
mm,
to not lose it. So the elders are passing it on. It's beautiful to see, but also there's a huge problem with the life expectancy here is really low, and there's a lot of sickness and illness, and we're losing a lot of that wisdom really quickly. So
yes. Yes.
yeah.
We know that is
But yeah, the bush
tragic.
medicine as well, losing
Yes.
some of
Yes.
people that
Yes.
hold on to all that wisdom and knowledge. It shouldn't just be tourism. It's actually fundamental. It's
Mm,
fundamental for our survival, I think, as a human
yes.
race. Like, it's
Yes.
very important information.
Well, isn't it, I would use the word obvious, but I mean, it just seems that we have plants that are on this earth for our um, nutriments for our. Actually, I saw someone post the other day. Plants are the herbs for healing. They
Mm.
are the the healers of. They're there for looking after ourselves. And I guess you're the same as me, and that's why we fell in love with oils, because it has this deep connection to our roots, and genetically, and through the timelines, and from all those past things. There must be. I often feel for people who are attracted to things like our essential oils, is it because there's some deep core of remembering and having respect for nature and appreciation for what nature offers us? And what more
Yes.
delightful thing than a beautiful smell to change your energy? So do you work
Mm.
with, when I use my oils, I work with intention. So I'm always thinking, when I'm putting some frankincense on, I'm powerful, I'm worthy, I'm
Mhm.
strong, or, lemon oil, I'm free and refreshed or something. So do you use
Yes.
that because you're into mindfulness? I would imagine that that's how you work.
Yeah, I do, and I love the blends that Young Living put out, which have
Mm,
titles like Surrender,
yes.
Awakening.
Mm,
So they help really focus even more. Yeah, so like I've got Surrender here, it's one of my favorites, and like Peace and Calming. So when you put
yes.
these on, the words are
Yes.
already on the bottle to help you
Yes.
with your intention. So I
Yes.
love working with those ones
Yes.
and sharing them with people. There's one called Joy, it's really
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. So definitely use them with intention. And when I do my Reiki treatments, I get people to choose an oil and
Mm.
then to set an intention
Oh,
so that
that's
you're
nice.
working with the
Mhm.
oil and the intention together. So some people will, have different relationships with the plants and oils and have a
Mm.
different intention to what someone else will. And then there's also, I love researching and looking at the vibration of the
Mm.
oils.
Mm.
Our emotions are all on a vibrational scale, and so are the oils. So if you're wanting to lift your emotional base, you can choose an oil that's got a higher vibration. Today I put frankincense on my crown. I
Oh,
love
nice.
that.
I put
Just
highest
to lift
potential
it
on
up.
mine.
Oh.
Highest potential. I was recently reminded, or read, or heard that Gary used highest potential, Gary Young, every day, and
Mhm.
I thought, well, if he used that every day, he's not silly. Between Valor
Yes.
and highest potential. So, do you have a daily
Yeah.
ritual, or do you have times where you'll, tend to be using some oil because you're going through things? How do you decide
Mhm.
what oils you're going to use each day?
For as long as I can remember, I always put patchouli on to ground me at the start of the day, patchouli essential
Mm,
oil. So
mm,
that's become one of my grounding rituals.
mhm, mhm,
And then at night, always having lavender
mhm.
um, to help relax and sleep. And then during the day, yeah, it depends what's happening. So, like
Yes.
today, I was like, I'm about to talk to Kay. I want to elevate my vibration for this uplifting conversation. Or if I'm feeling like I have 6 people to see in a row, as a counselor,
Mm,
and I'm feeling a little bit like I need in between each person to
yes.
kind of clear the energy. I
Yeah.
might use something like I might have peppermint or lemon just to
Mm,
freshen and clear and release. If
yeah.
I'm feeling a bit low, I might bring in orange. So there's always a
Yes.
diffuser going in my
Yes.
house and in my counselling room.
Very
So
nice.
it's part. If I don't have an oil, I feel naked. Like
Mm,
what's missing?
yes. I know that feeling. Do your clients comment on the oils, and do you think they appreciate,
Yeah.
come in and go, "Oh my god, it smells nice in here," or something like that?
Yes,
Yeah.
they do. Um, they always walk into my yoga space or counseling room and just immediately want to take a deep breath. And I think
Mm,
that's because the diffuser's going.
mm,
So that's
mm.
because I teach breathing. But yeah, it definitely does help reduce the that heightened sympathetic nervous system. So I
Yes.
use a lot of oils that promote the parasympathetic
Mm.
rest and digest.
Yes.
But then if we've taken people too low and they're in a bit of a deep relaxation, I get out the peppermint and make them squeeze it rub it into the top of their ears so they're safe to drive
Oh,
home.
that's a good idea. Yes, yes. I
Yeah.
mean, that's what I love about these oils too, is because we learn, for me, it's been such an expansion of my understanding, my learning about emotions and our body parts. Our ears have so many points on the ears where if we're working with, emotional trauma, even there's parts where it's good for your mother, the relationship with your mother or your father,
Yeah,
or
that's
things
right.
like that.
All the
Yep, all
acupressure
the little
points.
yes, exactly, that's right, and using oils on your ears is
Yeah,
something I don't do enough of, but this
no.
conversation.
And also, I think it boosts health. I use the lemon oil in my glass of water in the morning.
Yes,
So some
yep,
of them people don't know are safe to actually ingest. Yeah. But you can't just drink any oil and be careful. But a lemon's one of those ones you can add a couple of drops into the water.
exactly,
And so, yeah, I think that has kept, colds and flus
yes,
at bay by just boosting the immune system for
yep,
sure.
so using them to support. So energetically, when we're upbeat and we're, running on as many cylinders as we can, we're less likely
Mm.
to succumb to illness. And these days we know too that a lot of the illnesses, or probably all illnesses, have some emotional component of them that we
Huge.
need to look at, heal, and release and resolve. And the oils
Mm.
just are a beautiful segue into supporting us to be able
Mm.
to, to stay strong, to stay balanced, and remain cool, calm, and collected, so that laughter becomes part of our normal day, and even
Yes.
sounds, and just, that freedom to express ourselves and
Mm.
enjoy ourselves is something that is so important. How often were we taught at school, hey, what can you do to bring some joy into your life today? That
Yes, never.
never. That's right. But never. Or
We
and
should
I,
do a show on laughter yoga and
oh
oils. That
yes,
would be fun.
that sounds good.
And
That's a
actually
good.
get people to join in.
Yes, we could invite people into the studio. I usually
Mm.
invite people, or often invite people into my studio. Well, you've set a little thing in my mind. So yeah, let's aim for that. That would be really good. That'd be great. So yeah. So Mel, we're almost coming to a close with our hour today. So
Yeah.
was so pleased to hear that you're loving what you're doing up there and connecting with the community. Such an important thing to do. And yeah, I'm looking forward to meeting you. I'm going to meet up with Mel in Darwin in September, and we are planning to go to our Blue Cypress farm so we can talk to Vince and Marianne there, and
Mm.
they always invite um, us to go and see their farm, and the Young Living people. That's what I love about Young Living. We can visit our farms all around the world, and Young Living makes sure that we are welcome to go and have a look at what happens behind the scenes. And I know for me, I've been to so many of the farms around the world, and looking forward to more trips at some stage. It
Mm.
actually gives you the confidence and the trust in Young Living, because listening to our farm managers is always a delight, and they always tear up when they start talking about Gary.
Mm.
And I do too on occasions, but it's just so nice to know that the heart and the spirit is there with our beautiful oils. And of course that energy flows into the energy of the oils that we get in our little bottles, the energy of what is happening behind the scenes in Young Living, although it's really in
Yeah.
front of the scenes, because they're creating these beautiful products for us. So we
Mm.
know we're in good hands.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't wait to visit that farm. I
Yes,
love
it's going to be
cypress.
exciting. I'm going to give them a ring and tell them that we're coming because I
Yay,
think
good.
it's going to be a bit of fun. Yes, I bought some beautiful earrings of the blue cypress and a beautiful hand massage tool that they also make. So they're making crafts with some of the offcuts as well. So it's just wonderful.
Great. Yeah.
And the blue cypress was used by the Aboriginal people. They probably still use it. Have you heard of any community that uses the blue cypress? It might not be
No,
growing. I don't
it
know.
might not be grown around here. It's kind of
Yes.
more mangroves and stringy bark trees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm keen to find out.
Yeah. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful blue. The colour of the oil is a rich, my little bottle, is a rich blue. Actually, the colour that you're wearing is when you see the blue cypress oil in a glass container. It's a little bit more vibrant than the blue that you are wearing, but hence the blue cypress. The oil is blue. It's just stunning. I don't know whether you can. No, you can't really quite see it here, but
Can we smell it through the video?
wouldn't it be nice? So well, sometimes I put a drop of oil on here, and I've had people say, "Oh my gosh, they have felt the energy of whatever oil I have in my hand." I know
You can send it out.
with Valor one day, a friend she could feel the physiological change within herself. So there's a good note to end on.
Yeah, just send it to us, Kay. Let's
Send it
feel
to
it.
you. Yes, send the beautiful energy of the blue cypress, which is good for quietening the mind and sitting in a meditative state, connecting with the divine, and good for clearing your energy. And
I feel it in my heart. Yeah.
nice. And they use it for insects and things like that. I think they used it.
That's really good to know because we need lots of insect repellent.
Yes.
Natural ones up in this part of Australia.
Yes. Well, we'll have to try the outdoor spray. Actually, that's what I needed to put on my order to bring up because I think I had one and gave it to the kid. So yes. All right, Mel. Well, thank you very much for coming, and thank you to those who have tuned into this week's Uplifting Conversation. Reach out. You're melcraven.com?
Yeah, melcraven.com. Yeah, or
Yes.
Mel Craven Yoga on Facebook. I'll check any messages and reply to them, or you can find me there. Yeah, we'll put the links below. Yeah. Thank you. It's been beautiful to speak with you.
You enjoy your day. And thanks very much. I've really enjoyed listening to your story. From my heart to your heart, and from my heart to your hearts, all of those who have enjoyed this week's conversation, go forth and take a step into your courage so that you can bring your gifts out into the world for yourself. And if you feel inclined to bring them out into the world for other people, it takes courage. And that means you need to feel the fear and do it anyway. So bye for now.
See you.
See you.